Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Bets. I am the Brofect one, AJ. With me, as always, is my fellow degenerate, Noah Engelbrechtson. Follow him on Twitter at underscore Engelbrechtson. Myself at Brofect one. However you're listening or watching, please like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate it to fight against those nasty ass algorithms. And thank you so much for listening, however you're listening or watching Spotify, YouTube, Gather, Apple iPods, literally anything and everything. We do appreciate it. And we are back with NFL Week 2 picks part 2. And let me tell you, Noah, I went over our part 1 bets, you know what I mean? The morning games and the Thursday night game. And bro, I honestly might just parlay all those because I just see a lock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Especially with sports betting legal in Arizona, they're a little.
Woo!
I think it's a minimum 10-cent bet,
Yes, it
which
is.
what's to lose? Just parlay the entire slate of games. Go a 16 leg parlay,
Oh, yeah.
10 cents to probably win a couple hundred. Might as well. Who the fuck cares?
Right. Who
Worth the
cares?
risk.
We're
I
on
I, I think
as
I can afford to lose 10 cents.
absolutely. And
Or
like one
even a
of my
dollar.
buddies says, sorry?
I said, or even a dollar. I can afford to lose that.
Yeah, honest to God. And like one of my buddies says, and we'll have him on the show eventually. You'll love him, Noah. He says, when I gamble, I'm trying to win a steak dinner. I'm not trying to win the lottery. So yeah, let's go win a steak dinner or something. Let's go put $1 on a 16 team parlay, and that shit'll hit, obviously. But you know why I think I feel so good? I think it about these first picks for the early ones. I think it has to do with our inspiration juice, Noah. And I think in order to really lock in and get settled in here for the afternoon games and the Monday night game, we need to get a little bit more inspiration. So, Noah, if you would please raise your inspiration glass. Dilly dilly, my friend. Let's get it.
Cheers.
Woo! So we have week 2, afternoon action, late game action. And Noah, we're going to start with a team that, honest to God, I told you, bro, this team is good. This is a good football team, made a lot of big moves in the offseason. And yes, I'm a homer and everything, but I have every right to be hype about this team for the first time in a long time. Of course, I'm talking about my Arizona Cardinals going up against the Vikings at home. Cardinals are a 3.5-point favorite. Over under at 50.5. And money line, you got the Vikings at plus 160, Cardinals minus 190. Bro, last week was unbelievable. The Cardinals literally went into Tennessee and said, I'm so sorry. I don't see any Titans here. I just see a lot of little bitches everywhere. Like, are you kidding me? They had no chance whatsoever. Their offense is David Henry. The Titans' offense is David Henry. Simple as that. Julio Jones didn't do jack shit in that game. Ryan Tannehill couldn't get him the ball if he tried. With that being said, Kyler Murray just breaking the ankles of defenders left, right, and center and throwing dimes under pressure, throwing 60 yards in the backfield before throwing a dime. I mean, this fucking team is the Cardinals team that I have been waiting for. This is the Arizona team that I have been waiting for. And yeah, I'm obviously taking the 3.5 with the Cardinals like all day, every day. Honest to God, I would take this up to 6.5 at this point. And the Vikings. The Vikings are just not a good football team. They're somehow going to contend with the Lions to be the worst team in the NFC North. And that's hard to fucking do at this point. Well, I guess at this point, the Packers are also in contention for last place with the Detroit Lions. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, the Kirk Cousins, I have no faith in whatsoever. That defense, I have no faith in whatsoever. You have Dalvin Cook still on the Vikings, but really, that defense, Buda Baker's going to shut him down. And that's if Kirk Cousins gets a chance to throw the ball off. Noah, what are your thoughts on this Arizona Cardinals team? And why are you so confident that they're going to cover 3.5?
Yeah, I actually love the Vikings on this one.
You're joking.
I am joking. I am joking. I hate the Vikings in this one. Um, uh,
You had
yeah,
me there
no,
for
the
a second. I'm
Vikings
not going
are
to lie.
Vikings are a shit show. They showed us that last week against Cincinnati. Um, yeah. I mean, like I was saying in one of the previous episodes, I do think if the Cardinals and Titans played 10 times, I think they'd split them 5-5.
Disagree, but okay.
But the Vikings are not the Titans.
No.
The Vikings are a worse team than the Titans, and the Cardinals should have a heyday on this defense. Like I was saying in the first part of this, when we were talking about the Bengals, I think the Vikings look terrible against the Bengals, who are not a super high octane powered offense. The Cardinals, obviously, the questions are on the defensive side of the ball, not the offensive side of the ball. But I do think the Cardinals are slightly better of a defense than the Bengals are. Their offense is much better than the Bengals are. I have no problem taking the Cardinals minus 3.5 and just forgetting about it. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Just bet it and forget it because it's going to hit.
Simple as that. And honest to God, Noah, it looks like a lot of these late games are that. Lock it and just let it go. Because next we have the Falcons against the Buccaneers. This game opened at 8.5. The Buccaneers are now a 12.5-point favorite. Over under at 52. Falcons plus 550 money line. Buccaneers minus 800. I mean, lock it and forget about it. Buccaneers minus 12.5. Let's go.
I'm on the opposite side of this one.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's 12.5. It's the NFL, it's 12.5. I mean, the Falcons had a surprise upset against the Saints last year. As shitty of a team as the Falcons are, they almost beat the Chiefs last year. I think there's a good enough chance that they cover that I'm going to take them 12.5.
Wow.
No way in hell I'd ever take a money line, but I do like them to cover the 12.5. Especially because that week one game with Tampa Bay, obviously a very close call with the Cowboys. I don't know if that's because the Cowboys are actually good or if Tampa Bay is just not as great as people make them out to be. You know me, I'm always going to err on the fact that Tampa Bay is not as great as people make them out to be. I did pick them to go 12-5 and lose 5 games this year. This will not be one of them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love the Falcons plus 12.5. I like it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I like the Falcons plus 12.5 better than I like the Bucks minus 12.5. So that's why I'm leaning Falcons on this one. Obviously, I'm not taking a hard stance either way, but I do like the Falcons covering better than I like the Bucks to cover.
And I mean, fair enough. 12.5 points is a lot of points in the NFL, and that has been shown recently. And so I don't blame you, but I'm still sticking with my guns. You got to go with the GOAT. You got to go with Gronk. Simple as that. Yeah, lock it in. 12.5 Buccaneers. I guess you can take the Falcons 12.5 too if you like what Noah had said, but I think you're throwing money away. Anyway, okay. Now I think you will agree with me on this one. This is a lock it and leave it game. You got Cowboys and the Chargers. Chargers minus 3.5-point favorite, over under 55. Money line for the Cowboys is 165, and for the Chargers is minus 195. Give me Herbert and the Chargers and the points all day. Herbert last week, I think Herbert just keeps proving that he is going to be a generational talent. This guy is something special, and his talent will be wasted on the Chargers if they don't decide to spend some money and get some players. But with that being said, this Cowboys team, don't get me wrong, they put up some good numbers against the Bucs, but the Bucs struggled in the first half of last year too. They still pulled out the win in the game, and I think the Chargers can do that too. And I think the line being at 3.5, I do think they'll win by a touchdown. I think Justin Herbert is about getting touchdowns. He doesn't want to get a field goal because he knows it puts his team behind, and he is a team first player, and so he wants to get those touchdowns, take the pressure off the kicker. Give me Chargers and the points all day.
I'm going to disagree with you again on this one.
Noah, the hell? We were so good in part one.
I
We agreed so well in part one. Which, by the way, if you have not listened to part one of our NFL picks for week two, we covered Thursday and the early games. Go and check that out. It's still on this podcast stream. But we agreed on so many games in the first one. We were copacetic, dude. I thought, like, what the hell? How do you not like Chargers minus 3.5?
because I like what I saw out of the Cowboys week one.
Wow.
I really do. And I will say I will be buying a point on this one up to 4.5.
Okay.
I fully expect this game to be a one score game. I still I'd like the Chargers to win this by a little bit, but I do think it's going to be a one score game. I think the Cowboys keep this real close. I think this could easily be a high scoring shootout. Over under is just a little bit too high for my liking.
Yeah.
At 55.5, 56. Makes me nervous, so I'll probably stay away from that. But give me Cowboys plus 4.5.
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're gonna buy that point, but then no, I still like the Chargers.
But
I'm still gonna take. Sorry, go ahead.
I also love the under on Ezekiel Elliott yards.
Under on Zeke yards. Well, yeah, Mike McCarthy is allergic to the run. So
Mike McCarthy is allergic to the run.
Which sucks because when they can do play action, Dak can get a lot of damage done. But with Mike McCarthy, you're just not going to get that whatsoever.
Yeah, so Zeke rushing yards, take the under big time.
All right, fair enough, man. Any other thoughts on the Cowboys and Chargers?
No, I do think Herbert will perform in this, but I think Dak's also going to have a really good game. I could see this being a high-scoring shootout. I do kind of like the over, but not enough to hit it.
Yeah, absolutely. If that total drops to maybe 53.5, we'll have a conversation about it. But 55, I just do not like that number whatsoever. Now, with that being said, this under, I love. I love this under. And I'm talking about the Titans at the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 5.5 points. Over under is at 54. Titans plus 200 money line. Seahawks minus 250. I watched the Seahawks game last week. I wasn't impressed whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. They won the game. They would look good. But I was not impressed by the Seahawks team. I've seen a way better Seahawks team within the last 2-3 years than what I'm seeing right now. With that being said, as I said earlier in part one, or was it earlier? Yeah, the Cardinals were the late game. Earlier this podcast, the Titans, their offense is Derrick Henry. That's simple as that. Ryan Tannehill is not a bad quarterback whatsoever, but you have a little bit of defense. You have a little bit of pressure. Ryan Tannehill crumbles under it. And this Seahawks team does have a decent enough defense. Not as good as the Cardinals, but comparable to where they can pressure Tannehill to the point. Excuse me. They can pressure Tannehill to the point to make mistakes and everything like that. And so that's why I'm going with the Seahawks minus 5.5 on this one. And honestly, the under, because I don't think Russell Wilson and this offense can perform that well. And this Titans defense, they did look weak and everything, but I think Russell Wilson and this offense is a little overrated.
Well, AJ, I'm going to take the opposite stance on both of those.
Okay.
Give me the Titans to cover. Give me Titans money line. This is my upset pick of the week. Is the Titans. Yeah. And give me the over. I don't think the Seahawks are going to have the same effectiveness at getting ahead early and stopping the run. Rather, not even stopping it, because the Cardinals stopped the run and stopped the Derrick Henry train by getting ahead early and forcing the Titans into passing situations. I think the Titans are in this game. I think potentially they get an early lead. And I could see this being a high scoring shootout, but I think King Henry is going to really wear down that Seattle defense. And ultimately, I like the Titans to win by, 3 to 7 points.
I hope you're right. I really do, because I would love to see the Seahawks lose. My numbers are telling me that I got to go with the Seahawks at -5.5, unfortunately, and the over at 54, because I do believe, like you said, this Seahawks defense is not as strong as the Cardinals defense, and probably doesn't have the luxury of getting ahead early. This will be a shootout, and that's why I'm taking the over at 54, because I do believe this will be a shootout. Tannehill will be able to get more throws off, I think,
So
against.
you just said the under, so now you're on the over.
No, I said over. I'm sorry. If I said under, I meant the over. Um,
Okay.
my bad if I had that written wrong. My O's look like you. I write in chicken scratch. You should know this by now, Noah.
Well, as do I. So
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But yeah, Seahawks -5.5 and the over at 54 for me. Noah's taking Titans money line and the under at 54, correct?
I'm not taking the under. I'm taking the over. I told you I'm taking the over, and I'm taking the
Over at
Titans.
54. My bad. I just can't write to save my life today, apparently. um, now here's an interesting game. This game opened up at a 1 point spread. Um, and I've seen a lot of movement, and all of the lines on this game, from the totals and the money line, have seen a lot of movement. I'm talking about the Chiefs and the Ravens. You got the Chiefs now as a 3.5 point favorite over the Ravens. Over unders at 55.5 now. Money line is -190 for the Chiefs, +160 for the Ravens. I think after that Monday night game, it's going to be hard for people to bet on the Ravens because of the heartbreak. But with that being said, this is one of the lower lines on the spread for the Chiefs that I've seen at 3.5 in a long time. They're usually -6.5, -5.5, or something like that. 3.5. Vegas might be catching on to the fact that Casey likes to win, but they hate to cover, and that's why they're throwing in at 3.5. Ugh. I'm gonna stick with my formula here. The Chiefs love to win. They hate to cover. Give me the Rams and the +3.5. I mean the Ravens, excuse me.
Um, I'm actually going to agree with you on this one. I like the Ravens. Give me Lamar Action Jackson.
Hell yeah.
Terrible loss against the Raiders. I think this is time to bounce back for them. I think this could be one of the couple elusive Chiefs losses. They only lose a couple of games a season. I think this could be one of them. The Chiefs defense did not look good against the Browns, and the Ravens are a more high octane, big play offense. I think Lamar Action Jackson could be going big time in this game. Not so much passing. I think the Chiefs are going to struggle to contain Lamar, even though they shouldn't, because I've seen him like 3 times in the last 3 years. But I would not be surprised if Lamar goes over 100 rushing yards by himself in this game. The Ravens in total going, good 250, 300 yards on the ground. I think it's going to be huge. If you can find a team total in rushing yards, I would take that. I would take Lamar's over and Williams over in rushing yards, as he showed last week that he is definitely the dominant, back number one. Obviously, Latavius Murray getting some of those carries a lot more late, but I think Tyson Williams really is the guy to go to there. So I love the rushing over props for the Ravens. I like the Ravens to cover 3.5. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on Ravens money line. And I love the over because the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points. The Ravens are probably going to score a lot of points. There's just going to be a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm sprinkling the over. I'm sprinkling the money line as well. This Ravens team is a lot better than I think.
I'm not sprinkling the over. I'm hammering the over.
Oh, you're hammering the over at 55.5. That's a lot of points, bro.
Yes, but there are going to be a lot of points in this game. I can tell you that much.
Fair enough, man. I don't blame you
As
there.
as good as good as the Ravens defense is, the Chiefs will put up 25 to 30 points every game regardless. And the Chiefs defense looked pretty suspect week one. So if they're still looking suspect, I think the Ravens are also capable of putting up, 30 points. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm there with you, man. The Ravens look good, and they're gonna look good against this team coming up. Uh, I lost my spot. Give me one moment, and we'll talk about the next game, which I know is going to be a barn burner, an absolute storm of offense power. Of course, I'm talking about the Monday night game, the Lions versus the Packers. Packers are an 11.5 point 11.5